Welcome back, guys. Today we'll be doing CAPE UNIT2 2015 Question 5 Part C. Let's get started. A system of equation is given as follows. 2x plus 3y minus z equal negative 3.5 and x minus y plus 2z equals 7 and 1.5x plus 3x equal 9. Rewrite the system of equations as an augmented matrix. So we're going to take the coefficient of x, y, and z. In the first equation, I'm going to take the 2, 3, and minus 1. So the coefficient of z is minus 1. And the coefficient of x is 1. The coefficient of y is minus 1. Coefficient of z is 2. Coefficient of x, 1.5. There is no y, so we put a 0. Coefficient of z, that's 3. The variables that I'm dealing with is x, y, and z. And it's equal to the solution, which is minus 3.5, 7, and 9. So the augmented form is when we merge the 3 by 3 with the solution. So this will be the augmented form. So just merging the 3 by 3. So this is my 3 by 3 right here. Then I'm going to draw a line, and then I have the solution. And this is augmented. So use Elementor row operation to reduce the system to echelon form. So I need below my first leading value 2 to be 0. So the 1 and 1.5 I need to be 0. So for row 2, I am going to multiply this 1 by 2. It will become the same as row 1 entry, first entry. So I can subtract them to get 0. So my operation 2 row 2 minus row 1. So multiplying row 2 by 2, I am going to do it at the side. But first, let me go ahead and write my row 1, 2, 3, minus 1, and minus 3.5. So the operation for my new row 2, multiplying row 2 by 2. So here, 2 times 1, that's going to give me 2. Negative 1 times 2, that's minus 2. And 2 times 2, that's 4. And 2 times 7, that's 40. While for row 1 remain as is. So I'll go ahead and write my row 1, 2, 3, minus 1, and minus 3.5. So subtracting 2 minus 2, that's 0. Minus 2 minus 3, that is negative 5. 4 minus and minus, that's plus, so that's plus 1, that's 5. 14 minus and minus, that's plus, so that's 17.5. So this is our row 2, 0, minus 5, 5, and 17.5. Now for row 3, I need this to be 0. So what I'll be doing is multiply row 1 by 1.5 and row 3 by 2. So subtracting them, and I will get 0. So multiplying row 3 by 2. So 2 times 1.5 is 3. 2 times 0, that's 0. And 2 times 3, that's 6. And 2 times 9, that's 80. Now we can multiply 1.5 by row 1. So 2 times 1.5, that will give us 3. Then 1.5 times 3, that will give us 4.5. Then 1.5 times negative 1, that gives us negative 1.5. And finally, 1.5 times negative 3.5, that will give us negative 5.25. So subtracting, so 3 take away 3, that's 0. 0 minus 4.5, that's minus 4.5. Then 6 minus and minus, so that's plus. So plus, so 7.5. 18 minus and minus, so that's another plus. So that is 23.25. Now, here, substituting the third rule that I've gotten 0 minus 4.5, 7.5, and 23.25. Now, the next row operation is to get this negative 4.5 to be 0. So I'll multiply row 3 by 5. And because they're the same sign, subtract and then multiply row 2 by 4.5. So I'm trying to get a 0 where I have negative 4.5. So as stated, this is the operation that I'll be doing in order to get a 0 where negative 4.5 is. So the first two row will leave as it is, but I am going to need a new row 3. So multiplying row 3 by 5. 0 times 5 is 0. 5 times negative 4.5. That will give me negative 22.5. 7.5 being multiplied by 5. That will give me 37.5. Now multiplying 23.25 times 5, that will give me 116.25. Now the next step is to multiply row 2 by 4.5. So 0 times 4.5, that's 0. Minus 5 times 4.5, that gives me minus 22.5. And 4.5 times 5, that gives me 22.5. 4.5 times 17.5, that will give me 28.75. Now the operation is to subtract. So 0 minus 0, 0. Minus 22.5, this is a plus, so that's 0. 37.5 minus 22.5, that will give me 15. Then I subtract 116.25 minus 78.75, and that will give me 37.5. So my row 3 is 0, 0, 15, and 37.5. And this is in the echelon form where below each leading value I have 0. So this is in echelon form. I need to solve the system of equations. First, let me label the first column as x, second as y, and the third as z. So this part I can rewrite as an equation as 15z is equal to 37.5. Now I will divide both sides by 15. So dividing both sides by 15, the 15 cancels. So z is equal to 2.5. Now I can go ahead and find out what is y using the second row where I have 0 minus 5, 5, 17.5. So I will be creating an equation with row 2. So the equation will be minus 5y plus 5z equal 17.5. Now, I know what is the value of z, so I will be replacing z to be 2.5. So replacing it, I will have minus 5y, then plus 5 times 2.5 equal 17.5. Now, I need to multiply 5 times 2.5. So multiplying that, that will give us 12.5. So I have minus 5y plus 12.5 equals 17.5. Now I'm going to make y the subject. So first, carry 12.5 over the equal sign. So I will have minus 5y equal 17.5 minus 12.5. So minus 5y is equal to 5 when we do the subtraction. So 17.5 minus 12.5 is positive 5. Now having this, to make y the subject, I divide both sides by negative 5. So the negative 5 cancels. And 5 divided by negative 5, I'll get a negative 1. So y is equal to negative 1. The last step is to create an equation with the first row. So I have 2x plus 3y minus 1z or minus z equal negative 3.5. So I have what is y and what is z, so I will replace those variables. So I have 3 times negative 1, because above I have y to be negative 1, and z is 2.5. So I replace the value right here. Now it's just to make x a subject, so I will be simplifying. So 3 times negative 1, that's minus 3. So I go ahead, write my minus 3 minus 2.5 equal negative 3.5. Minus 3 minus 2.5, that's negative 5.5. Now I need to carry this over the equal sign so it becomes positive. So I have 2x equal negative 3.5 plus 5.5. So 2x is equal to minus 3.5 plus 5.5. That gives me 2. Next step, divide both sides by 2. 2 would cancel, so here I have x equal 1. So x is equal to 1, y equal negative 1, and z equal 2.5. And that's it. These are the solutions. The final question need to show that it says no solution if I change the last row. So the third equation, I am going to replace it with the new equation. So formulating my augmented matrix, the first 2 rows will remain as what we had in the previous activity we did. So the first row is the same as before, taking the coefficient of x and the solution. The second row is the same as before, but the third row, I will have 1.5 coming from the new equation, negative 1.5, 3, and 9. Now, I want to show that the system has no solution. To show that it has no solution, I need to get some zeros in the third row. So my third row, I need to have 3 zeros equal a number. So over the solution should be a number, but I need some zeros on the left hand side. So row 3 operation is 1.5, row 2, minus row 3. Because if I multiply row 2 by 1.5, it will look the same and I can just subtract to get 0. So I'm trying to get zeros in row 3. That's where I'll get no solution. So let me create my new row 3. So multiplying row 2 by 1.5. So 1 times 1.5, that's 1.5. Negative 1 times 1.5, that's negative 1.5. 2 times 1.5, that gives me 3. 7 times 1.5, that will give me 10.5. Now, the next step is to subtract row 3 from this. So I have my row 3, which is 1.5, negative 1.5, 3, and 9. Subtracting, that gives me 0. That will give me 0. And 3 minus 3, 0. 10.5 minus 9, that will give me 1.5. So I have 0, 0, 0, then 1.5 in the third row. Once we have this arrangement, it tells me it's no solution. So right here, because 0 equals a number, it is considered to be no solution. And that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. And if you have a question, leave a comment below.